Very good morning to you. I hope you're well. I hope you had a good weekend. I had a lovely weekend. I've been away, hence the early publication of my thought for the day. But I'm back into the routine. It's lovely. So here we are in 1 Samuel 25, when Abigail, Nabal's wife, learned of the way that her husband had behaved towards David, and sent him away, sent his men away, and she knew that David was coming to take vengeance on Nabal and all his household. She hurried, and verse 18 of 1 Samuel 25 says that she took an enormous amount of food with her on donkeys, with the men helping her. 5 ready-dressed sheep, 2 skins of wine, 200 loaves, 5 measures of parched grain, 100 clusters of raisins, 200 cakes of figs. She took a large gift of food to David and his men and met with him before he reached Nabal's land. And she gave them to him. She actually, I'm sure you've read it because you were reading this chapter, she actually says to him, "Let the fault fall on me. If I'd have known you'd come, I would have given food to your men." Whether she'd have been able to, if that had been the circumstance, I don't know. But she took on herself the fault. She said, "Don't blame the men here, or my husband, his name is Nabal, and so as his name is, so is he." And this is so true of much of Old Testament and even New Testament teaching, that the name given to people described them. And the word Nabal, apparently, according to my footnote, means fool. And she called him ill-natured fellow Nabal. As his name is, so he is. I think names are very important. Our world, our modern world, has lost the realization of how important names are. They are of great significance. And many people, Abraham's name was changed by God because his original name did not reflect God's purpose for his life. And his name was changed to make him father of many. Sarah's name was changed. She was Sarai to begin with, and she was changed to Sarah, so the meaning would fit. Many of the children were named either for their birth circumstances or, Isaac's name means laughter, because when the angels told Sarah that she would bear a child in her old age, she laughed, and she called her child Laughter. I think it's a lovely name. I imagine Isaac, as he grew up, laughing a lot. So names are very important, and this man's name was Fool, and as he was named, so he was. He was a fool. So we need to think about names, choose names wisely, I think. And there's some interesting thoughts coming into my head about names, about the fact that people who go into monasteries and nunneries change their natural given name to a name of a saint that they want to emulate and be like. Names are very important, and seeking out the meanings of names can be very interesting. So she comes to David and she offers him all this food, and she asks him not to take vengeance on her husband and the men. And David is placated and thanks her for coming to meet him. "Blessed are you," he says in verse 33. "Blessed be your discretion, and blessed be you who have kept me this day from blood guilt and from avenging myself with my own hand. For as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, who has restrained me from hurting you, unless you'd made haste and come to meet me, truly by morning there would have not been left to Nabal so much as one male. Now I think this incident is recorded here to tell us, well, first of all, to tell us where Abigail came from, because when Nabal dies, after a decent period, Abigail becomes David's wife, and she has children, and it's interesting to know where Abigail came from. But this incident was one of the few times when we see David taking matters into his own hands and taking vengeance. He wanted to get back at Nabal and his household for their treatment of him and his men. And he'd never done that to Saul. He'd never tried to get back at him for what Saul had done to him. He'd never attacked a city or a town out of vengeance. But he would have done here. And I think he learned a lesson here, because we'll think about it tomorrow, of what happens to Nabal. He learned that God was well able to take vengeance for him, and that he didn't need to do it himself. And we need to learn this lesson, that when things go badly against us and people treat us wrongly, and we know that it's not just that they're nasty people, but they've actually treated us badly. It is not our place to get revenge and to exact vengeance. If they're deserving of punishment or vengeance, it is the Lord. In the whole of the New Testament teaches us the way that David was learning here, but he didn't have the words of Jesus to teach him. But we have the words of Jesus, which say, love your enemy, do good to those who hate you. Paul emphasizes this, doesn't he, towards the end of Romans, about how we are not to take vengeance, we're to leave it to God, because God is well able for fighting on our side, and we must not interfere with God's purposes in other people's lives. As we bless them, we make life more difficult for them. The more we bless people who are unkind to us, the more upset they get. And the more irritated, and their conscience stirs, and it's heaping hot coals on their heads, as it says in Romans. But the New Testament says we must love our enemies, do good to those who hurt us, just like Abigail did good to David. She brought him all that food, not just a token gift, but a huge amount of food. She took to him to placate him, and he received it graciously. And he said, go in peace to your house. See, I have hearkened to your voice, and I have granted your petition, which was not to destroy her household. So that's my thought for the day. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. God bless.